much, and maybe we can have a discussion. The topic is the rise and fall of open source gaming projects. And we take as example the project we work on, Battle for Westnod. Who has not heard from Westnod yet? Okay, quite a few. Okay, here we have sound, but no picture. Okay, Battle for Westnod is a turn-based strategy game. That means you can move all your units in one turn and then press the end turn button. Then the AI computes, or your opponents, your human opponents. You have a hex field-based game map, because hex fields allow a better movement scheme. For example, if you have squares, the diagonals are larger away than the verticals or the horizontals. Do we have a picture? Ah. Right.
Why? Every one of you knows German, right? Is there really someone not knowing German in here? Oh no, you're joking. Oh, let's see.
Can you start the old version, please?
I can. Let's start the old one.
Maybe this is English.
No, it's not.
But okay.
But I can switch.
Well, one moment, please. Can you Spanish?
What do you want?
Can you scroll through the list of supported languages?
I want to do this later on in my talk.
Oh, really?
We can't do this during your talk.
Yeah, okay. You see, it's a lot of them.
We're perfectly organized.
Not really. Okay. Well, stop. Hurry, you're too fast. Okay.
Talk faster.
Okay. Well, Niels will demonstrate a little bit of the gameplay, I hope.
I'll try to.
The game is following the KISS principle. KISS means keep it simple and stupid. That basically means you remove everything from the user interface or from the game mechanics until you have reached a level where it barely works. Yeah? Nothing left to remove. So you can just click on units and move them. Or we attack other units. It's nothing more. Right? Did I miss anything?
Recruit.
Yeah, okay. You can call for new units if the one you have are not enough.
Now I'm lazy.
Yeah, he just roided the slide. Okay, Westnod is a mature project. We have reached 10 years last year. And sadly, during the last 2 months, user counts or forum visitors are stagnating. So we are not growing anymore. The question is why? That's difficult to answer. Maybe it's because we fail to deliver with new content. Now we are full, sorry. Content is the most important stuff for open source games. Many open source projects, gaming related ones, have problems with content. You have a good engine, you have a stable idea of the game mechanics, but only a campaign with 3 scenarios, if it is campaign based. And that's half of an hour gameplay, and then it's finished. Can you leave the scenario, please?
I just want to attack.
Yeah, okay. Let's attack a little.
Okay.
Mach Kampagne, genau. Okay, so, Westnut is different. We have a lot of campaigns, 17 or 18. Haven't counted them.
Many.
Many. Okay. Most of them are larger than 10 scenarios, so you can play at least 2 weeks around the clock if you are fast and good. That's much more than many commercial games offer. For example, The Last StarCraft comes with one campaign, 24 scenarios if I remember correctly. That took me 2 days to finish on the easiest difficult level, and the second, that was too easy for me. The next difficult level was too hard for me, so wasn't exactly the right audience for the game. Okay. We are not able to include any more campaigns into our game because we lost our prose manager, and that's really a problem. We need a certain quality of artwork, prose, story, whatever, and it's hard to reach anymore without the old stuff. And stuff changes over time because people lost interest or are not at university anymore, don't have time, or just die.
We're not sure the last one really happened, but it can.
Yeah, maybe one of our developers died and we didn't notice.
Could be.
Yeah. No chance to tell us.
Does that die in real life or in the game? In real life or in the game?
If they died in real life, how would we know? They would just drop off inactive. Not react to our mails anymore, and basically the same which happens if you're really busy from real life work.
Yeah, sometimes people just quit without noticing or answering anymore to emails or however you try to contact them. Yeah, reasons are unknown, but yeah, you know for yourself. I bet you have quitted something and just broke up every contact at least once in your life. No? But let's change the topic. Okay, but one of all the campaigns we have is are collected from our add-on server, so they are in fact made by users which got hooked to the game and produced one or more campaigns. We took them, if they are fine, polish them and include them in the game, which isn't possible right now anymore. So the new version of Westnut shows some improvement, but we can't deliver with the most important stuff, new content. That's mostly true for older players or long-time players, long-term players. New players, of course, have still plenty of content to choose from. Still, you need to keep your user base happy. Long-term users tend to produce more content, so you do not want to lose them at all. Yeah, please ask.
On this matter, again,
Please make sure to speak up. We try to record it, and otherwise it's not audible.
a game developer I knew was making a game. He said he doesn't have time for content. He's on his own. So what he's or scenarios and stuff. So what he did was auto-generate random content. Have you considered that?
With a genetic algorithm, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know the game.
Add-ons that
are infinite and generate their own stuff. But while it can be interesting from the gameplay perspective, there isn't any real story in it, and well, Nate might be able to help with that.
Still, in a normal game, you want to have some campaign with some storyline evolving around some characters, good or evil, and you want to have something going on. For this, you need people who are able to create scenarios. So the basic setup of each single scenario, then some overarching concept to make it a campaign, and people are also able to code it, so define it, and maintain it afterwards. As you can see here in the add-on server, we have lots of content from users, because we make it really easy to produce new content and upload it there. We have a real problem converting from this new content uploaded there, first finding the high quality content, and then getting it into mainline. Because of the level of maintenance you have to do, whenever you change something in mainline, you might have to touch this content. So eventually you just get too large.
Please open the add-on manager. Ah, you are already there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ist langsam.
Okay. There's a lot of add-ons on there. There are over 500. I guess it was 620 something. That's quite a lot. But there's a lot of unfinished or not working or just bad quality or not what the user wants to play.
You as open source developers should be confident seeing those version numbers. Not.
So, how do you find quality content or discriminate quality content from non-quality content? The answer is simple, you can't. Pardon? We don't have a rating system, yes. That's a problem. You can sort by size, which might be a sign of quality. Pardon?
You get music.
Yeah, might be a sign of quality because there's much music or much art in there, but yeah. It also might be just a collection of stuff that makes no sense to us. You can also sort by downloads. So if you download the one with the most downloads, it gets more downloads. So it's a self-empowering system, and mostly the most downloads are just things with fancy names or the ones that got first on the add-on server whenever we open a new one for a new release. A rating system would be a solution. Who said it? Yeah? Do you have any experience with rating systems, or are you a game developer?
I'm not a game developer myself, but it's kind of looking at larger games that have equivalent systems like Little Big Planet, for example.
Please talk louder.
Sorry, Little Big Planet is an example where there's a
Little
hell of a
Big
lot
Planet?
of, community content. A hell of a lot of it is utter crap. The rating system allows us to say, well, this one has got something halfway decent in it, I'll give it a go. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, right now I'm not a game developer myself, so I'll implement that in the system.
It's not that easy to establish a rating system, but mostly our concerns are that it leads to that competition might spoil our friendly community. Yeah, that's the reason, and I think we will need to get to a rating system sooner or later. Yeah, just to make sure that the add-on server is still usable or usable again. But old habits and old rules are changing slowly in large open source projects, especially if you don't have a dictator. Yeah, so I like to advise you, keep your dictator happy so that he never leaves. Yeah? Our dictator left, and we can't find a new one, or can't agree on a new one, or can't agree that we need a dictator, and all that stuff.
I guess a basic problem you often face when implementing a rating system, if you upload finished content, it's good. But if you upload iteratively, like open source work usually is done, you upload an early version, someone downloads it, sees doesn't work, bad rating. Next one downloads it, doesn't work, bad rating. Then you had some votes, you have a very low rating, you upload a new version. What do? Do you discard all the old comments, or do you keep them without a real chance for improving?
You can actually do like a combination of both. As soon as there's a new version, you can let the old rating lose some of its value. And you can also have like time-related values to the rating. So if the rating was made a year ago, it might not be as valuable anymore, and that will adjust quite nicely.
The problem is we have not tried out. We are still in the phase of fighting against each other if we really want a rating system, yeah?
Good one.
And what about maybe splitting the channel of additional content in two? So you have one group of content that you know, like from the core developers, that they are trusted, that they are accepted. So they are tested, they are actually good and quite proper. And then you have another like group of additional content that it's just anybody can upload, and I guess like how it's now.
Yes, I promised that, and it ended in a flame war, of course.
Yeah,
But it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
Maybe another idea would be to rate based on activity. So the most active as it adults will be added.
Yeah, but what is active?
Well, number of commits maybe, or when was the latest update to the.
You'll get someone who uploads it every day.
Yeah, we have one.
Already have someone
Yeah.
script to download this one add-on 1,000 times, so you get more downloads on the list.
Yeah, we have at least one active abuser of the download count.
You can get every system. Basically. We are humans. We are more clever than the system.
Sadly.
Human that will keep this.
Yeah.
Actually, I think what you're facing is that the open source technology doesn't necessarily fit into game development in general.
Do you think so, really?
Yeah, I'm not saying that they do not fit totally. I'm saying that it's not a match made in heaven. The thing is that when creating a game, you first of all need a vision, which is usually one person or a small group of people. Then you need to provide the content of the game itself to the end user. And users rarely want to see an iterative process. They want to find a finished product. With open source in general, you create apps, it's a bit different. You expect a system to rise over time. When a gamer is a game, he wants to play, he wants a finished product.
Yeah, indeed.
However, recently games like Minecraft, DayZ, and so on have managed to link sort of this iterative process with finished development. And my suggestion would be to actually sort of split the game. I mean, have a beta branch and say, tell the people, listen, this is beta, so we try a lot of crazy
of course.
stuff.
We have a beta branch, of course.
Yeah, but also with beta, you could try out the rating system. You could try other stuff which there's not exactly a consensus on.
Yeah.
Then that could be much more dynamic.
We have development branch, and you get a stable branch every 1 or 2 years. But the problem with the development branch is that you can do lots of crazy stuff on it, and the users won't actually complain until it's a stable version.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's the thing. It is you have a stable branch and a development branch, which is sort of this beta, alpha, whatever.
Yeah.
From a
You
development
make releases
perspective.
from it, and nobody plays it.
Yeah, my point is that this is a beta from the perspective of the developer. It's not a beta from the perspective of the user. So he thinks, okay, this is unstable, I'm not touching that. And if you would have sort of a semi-stable build that is stable as an executable, that has content which might, or features that might vary, that would be a different story. People would like, I think the experience I've seen, would like to actually check it out.
It's sadly not. We have a very strong multiplayer community, and we make sure that our stable releases are compatible with each other. So one stable series, every minor bug fix release will stay compatible with the other, while in the development release, because we are doing some crazy stuff sometimes, they are incompatible. So the players just see, okay, when I go to the multiplayer server, how many people will I find there for finding other players? Now, of course I want to continue. As you can see here, 160. are in other games. Players right now on a Saturday afternoon. And there are even 31 guys hanging around just in the lobby, waiting to start games or stuff like this.
Whatever. Just talking.
So, the matter is now, if you come on the development server and only see 2 guys around,
And that's if you're lucky.
if you're lucky, those guys who want to play multiplayer will not be there. And if you have no one there, the vicious circle starts. You can't promote this version. I think he was first.
Louder, much louder, please.
A good example for what that person was saying is Dota 2. They have 2 versions of the game, the beta and the stable, but it's not the development beta. It's a game where they first new characters, for example, and the game itself doesn't break, it works, but it may break the game mechanics a little bit. So the new hero can overpower those, something like that. And only after that, that character makes its way to the stable version. And the other thing I would like to say is use some kind of statistics of people using those modes, those campaigns, and not use the rating system, but analyze statistics. If a person downloads a new mode and spends a lot of time in it, and another person does the same in a late time, I mean, a couple of days.
We don't watch our single players. Maybe that.
We had a system once upon the time to gather statistics like this. The idea was great.
Nobody turned it on?
No, many had it on. We had lots of data, yeah, but nobody really made use of the data because it was just too much information to go through.
Yeah, data mining is not an easy task.
Exactly.
But also, if you want to make the ratings higher, then maybe you should data mining and use that data. Because statistics helps.
Yeah, the idea is good.
We have, I work on a game called Bit Fighter, which has a similar idea, where we get tons and tons of user content. And we've done a couple different things to encourage that. We just instituted a rating system. I can't tell you how well it works or not, but we made it very easy when you're rating a level. You press a key while you're playing, and the rating gets saved in the central database. So there's no friction to rating things. But we used to have people would post their levels in the forums, and people could vote on them there. We had 1 through 5 stars, and that tended to work pretty well. And the other thing we've done that has worked really well is we have level design contests once every maybe 6 months or 3 times a year, and people will submit levels, people will vote on them, and we've gotten some really fantastic levels. And I found that the sense that you were saying people will get upset by the competition, I find the competition actually encourages people to push themselves to the next level. They look at what this other guy did and they say, well, I'm going to do better than that next time because I want to win the competition. And that's been a real, both a positive thing for the community because it gets people involved, and it also generates a ton of really high level content.
There is good or positive competition, and you have negative competition, and you need to encourage the positive one and discourage negative. Oh, you are all leaving. Was? Pardon. Please, again and louder.
When was it that you were collecting all this data and you didn't have the analysis for it? Because I'm thinking that 5 years ago, people weren't interested in big data back then, but now a lot of people are. And that would be a way to attract more people to the project.
Well, I looked at our statistics 3 years ago, regularly.
Let me check if I can still find it, but I think it's gone.
But it wasn't easy to say. Why did people quit at scenario 5 just from the statistic? Or
No longer there.
why do they lose their gold in this scenario? It was difficult for me, but yeah, I just used it for developing the campaign. Maybe it can be used for rating add-ons better than for development, we need to try out. Yeah.
Of course, we need to try.
Yeah, we will do so. Next year, I will tell you.
So I have a question for you right now regarding what kind of recognition is given to content creators, especially the good ones, and
A forum title.
Yeah.
Our content creators, the main exchange platform is our forum. In the forum, we have some titles. Of course, every developer gets a title, translators get a title, artists get a title, and those who are known to create good content get a title, and those who are known to create innovative content get a different title yet again. So we use the system, especially since the forums are the main place to complain about content which doesn't work.
Yeah, and the most Belohnung
Reward.
is positive comments in the forum, and it's not very much, and maybe a high download rate, but you can abuse the download counter like we just like I explained before, and this made not only one UMC user-made content designer mad and going to rage. Designers need more reward. That's definitely the case.
So I want to come back to the point where you earlier said on that you need to basically forward port add-ons to new Westnorth versions. Is that so?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I think that
yes.
is a very great showstopper for players, because
players.
for the users that want to try out perhaps very old add-ons that haven't been reviewed in any way. So if you compare with other games, for example, the very obvious Doom, you can still play maps made in 1994 because all the versions are supported throughout and there's no forward porting needed.
Still grab Westnorth 1.6 or 1.2.
What we do have is, we do have different add-on servers for different versions. So we have one add-on server for the old 1.6 series, we have an add-on server for the 1.8 series, we have a different one for the 1.10 series.
We don't have the
But the
1.6 running.
Not anymore? Okay, it's more than 6 years ago, so.
Yeah, but it's more like if you take the client from Trunk right now, can you
No.
say with confidence that you can run
No.
almost all
No.
old? Yeah, that's a problem.
We have scripts for updating stuff, they don't catch everything. But there are people on the forums who grab old content and port it and then throw it on the new server and throw it to the version control at the same time.
The matter is, if we kept the backwards compatibility all the time, we would just shoot ourselves on the leg.
Hasn't been a problem for other games.
It depends on how well defined your engine is, and basically what we are developing these days is the engine. And since the engine is changing all the time, and we don't have one single fixed format of how everything should be, it's not this easy. Especially since we also say that our core content, which can also change, is in a stable release, the stable API, so to say. Core content there also being the units with the unit images. So if you reference one of those from the core group, it's perfectly working in this release, in this stable series, for example. But we do not guarantee that we don't, for example, change the animation of a unit, meaning that the frame you will then see, if you are looking at frame 5, is not a completely different one. So in theory, the content might load, but it might not look like the designer intended it to.
Or work like intended.
I hear you all talking about programming method, data mining and stuff like that. Not that I blame you, because this is game developer you mustn't forget about the actual players. There are plenty of players who actually can't contribute any graphical aspects nor any code, but are maybe willing to rate the add-ons for you. Like I can have a pre-selection of possible interesting add-ons for you. You can actually get 5 players, trusted players, to test those versions or something like that.
Players want to review stuff. We are just denying it for that old rule that we don't want to encourage competition, yeah?
But this must be players who don't contribute themselves, and all data they provide you must be anonymous actually towards the community.
You don't want to produce competition in the game. So, you're talking about not having competition. You don't want to have competition. But
competition is...
There's healthy competition and unhealthy competition.
Yeah, indeed, there's healthy and
unhealthy.
unhealthy.
It's the community who decide whether that's healthy or unhealthy. If you expect there's going to be unhealthy competition, it's sometimes a problem.
So the main point which we see as unhealthy competition often are leaderboards. Because leaderboards often lead to flame wars and stuff like this. So that's why we say we do often. That's why we say in our multiplayer community we do not support an official ranking list or something like this. If you do want to do some ranking, you can do so, but we will not officially support it within the game itself.
Yeah, there are ladder gamers who have some chess-like, it's called Elo, yeah, Elo rating thing, but we don't give them any support and point with fingers on them because they do this. It's a shame.
We don't do this, we just ignore it.
No, there are in fact people, well, okay. Yeah.
But there is a huge difference between ranking players and ranking content. So there's different kind of that's not really competition. It's just telling new players, here's something good for you to play. And if you want retention, you kind of need to give them what they need to stay.
Yeah.
So it's not about players competing against players.
Yeah, the idea is that content creators don't help each other anymore if there is too much competition. But I don't share that ideas. I completely agree that there's healthy and unhealthy competition. But a large project takes a lot of time to change old rules. Yeah, and it's an ancient rule that we don't like to encourage competition. and we lack the dictator that says, okay, we do it because we need to do it. Yeah. Da war noch eine Frage. Who wanted to say?
You were worried about the stagnation of user base of your game.
Again, you must be much more louder.
You were worried about the stagnation of user base of your game. If I'm correct, you said that your game is more than 10 years old.
Yeah.
So the games is an entertainment, and people, they tend to like new ways of entertainment. And of course, you can provide new entertainment by providing new content. It's like the TV series. The first season it gains some people who watch it. The second season, whoa, it's a big explosion. Everybody speaks that it's a great TV series. The third season is okay. The fourth one is, well, I don't think you should see, and so on. So everything has a way up, and then stagnating and the way down. Even if we take some great strategies like Warcraft 3 or StarCraft or any other games from commercial firms, they didn't last, I think, longer than 10, 15 years, even though they were as cyber discipline or, esports and so on. And the StarCraft is lasted alone, but the main user base was from Korea. And so now it was replaced with the StarCraft 2. And don't you think that maybe it's the time to think about the Battle for Warcraft 2 with 3D graphics and so on? Or maybe not just...
3D graphics are a big issue. Yeah.
Did you think about this?
Every day someone drops into the forum and asks, when will Westnode go 3D? Yeah, if you compare our pixel art images to 80s or the 90s, we are doing quite well. Yeah.
Essence of 3D graphics is the main problem. No, just
many times a good
people
word
can't-
about 3D
can't
graphics.
stick to the
Yeah.
feeling for a long time. It's people rage, I think.
Yeah, you are right. Commercial games want to sell a new game. So you have a part 2 or part 3. We don't need to release a part 2 or a part 3. We can just incrementally add new stuff. But the problem is everything new is always causing resistance. There's always at least one developer who wants to have a word at it, who says, oh no, I can't live with it. Yeah? So everything new is always a huge fight.
So you have too many egos.
Yeah, no dictator. That's the problem.
We're talking about open source projects. Everyone working in open source projects has their own motivation to do so. No matter if it's a game, if it's some office suite, or if it's a web browser, or just some command line application. The matter is, if you have a project which is of some size and some age, you will have several old developers in there who of course think, hey, I've contributed so much. What I say is the golden rule book. You will always have this. You won't get around it. So it will be difficult for new developers to really get heard and get their new and often great ideas really implemented. That's why Fabi says you need a dictator.
Well, you need also
You need
mentality.
you need some.
That's what you see in a lot of communities nowadays as well. The mentality is really changing. That's one of the success factors as well. In open source project, is the mentality of the community is very different. If you only have egos ruling everything, yeah, you get nothing done. It's always like that.
I think what Fabi wants to say is what helps most is to have someone as head of the project who is one strong-minded, but who can also listen. And who doesn't say, okay, we have always done it this way, so we need to continue it this way.
It's of course very
So,
comparable to the
it's-
development of society.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can learn your lessons there.
You have been first?
Oh.
Yeah, you have one good thing going though. You have these plugins that people can use for any given game when they start, right? So they can plug in certain functionality or not based on what they choose to do. Yes.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Yeah. The modifications.
The modifications.
Yeah, no, we have add-ons and the new features modifications where you can change existing other content. But most add-ons are just content.
Oh, it's just content, not functionality. Because it sounded like you can plug different kinds of behaviors. So if people like certain kinds of functionality within the game, you can choose to start one game with or without that functionality, and then everyone's happy. If it's a popular functionality, people will use it. If not, then...
Some of that stuff is possible. Some content creators, as I said, are very innovative in what they are doing. Who was it who made him? Western's basically a movie player. Do you remember?
No.
Ethereum.
Ethereum.
Yeah.
So you saw the game. He basically used the system to create a movie player with it.
The main problem was syncing the audio with the video.
Like always.
First you, sorry.
I would like to say I'd like to be actually having a new version of Western, like Western 2 or something. But as somebody said earlier, games, like players don't really want or don't really need iterative development. Like usually when you play a game, unless it's like a huge online game that is made for online content. And I know Western has online, but it's only made for specifically online gaming. I think players just get the game, they play. They might stick around for a couple of months because they want to try new version, new plugin, new add-ons or something. But at the end, they just say, "Yeah, I finished this game and that's done." So at the point, I mean, I know I played Western like 6 years ago. I finished most of the main campaigns and I said, "Yeah, it's a really nice game, but I'm done. I have other games that it's fine." But I think that if you want to also improve the user base and also change the way you steer development, you might think, yeah, maybe it's time to get to a new version. Like you take the core developers and whoever wants to keep maintaining the old one, yeah, they can keep doing it. It's open source. But then you take the core developers or people who want to do it and say, yeah, now we're going to make Westnot 2 or.
Question: what is the difference between Westnot 1 and Westnot 2?
I think
What is the what would be, in a theoretical idea, what would be the difference?
I think deep down the idea is that it's mostly the same game, but at the end it's a new name, so people are going to say, yeah,
Okay.
we're going to get hype because yeah, it's a new game, and you get to say, yeah, from now on we are going to discard these old ways of doing development and say we are going to start with a new way. So I am the creator, so somebody can take the lead. Say I am the creator, and we are going to have these objectives. We're going to abandon like all the code base or try with this new way of having an engine and adding new features to the core engine. I don't know how it works, but more or less, and say, yeah, no old stuff. And
That's basically what we are doing with every new stable release.
Yeah, but
We're just not naming it Westnot 2, Westnot 3, Westnot
But
4,
it's
and we are still keeping the old content there and updating it. The matter is, what commercial games do there is they have old campaigns, they just drop them, they are no longer there, and you get the new release which doesn't have the old campaigns, but some new ones instead. What we are doing instead is, if we have some new content, for example, we add it in addition to the existing stuff.
yeah, but I think the problem is you don't want to support old campaigns. I mean, old campaigns are made for the old version, and that's fine. I mean, player can still play that. It's not like it's going to be a worse version because you have a new one. You say, yeah, now I'm going to start with a new version, new way, new name, and new content. So you can say the best add-ons for the previous version, for the previous game were these, and this is how it's done, and then the new game is going to be a new game.
But what is the benefit of removing the content?
Like because then you have new community, you have a new interest in the game because it's a new name, it's a new core team. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
People think it's different because they say, yeah, I have let's say it's Westnot 1.8. Yeah, it's just some new content, some new patches, but I don't care. I mean, I already played Westnot 1.6 or 1.7. But if I say it's Westnot 2 or it's a totally new name and maybe like a similar game but a completely new game, then it's also a new interest for the players.
Maybe a Westnot 2 would not be fantasy themed, but steampunk or
Yeah, the problem is just that if you change it this radically, it would mean that you would have to redo all artwork.
Yeah,
That's not viable.
Well, it's if you want to have a big project, I mean, it might be necessary, you know.
I guess we also have the same problem as most open source games probably have. The ratio between coders and artists is heavily focused on coders.
That's true.
So
we have had a lot of artists, and we currently still have quite a number of artists. They come, they learn stuff, they leave, but those artists are pixel artists.
Yeah,
we don't have. Well, we might have people who have experience with 3D modeling and texturing, but we don't know.
Yeah, but I'm not saying
good ones.
I'm not saying doing 3D because I think modern doesn't really mean 3D or 2D. But
And well, adding a new, going in a new direction where you replace all the artwork. Well, then you need the amount of work that's been put in the past 10 years all over again.
Yeah.
Continuing the topic, I believe more or less the same is about the marketing involved, like sending mails to the users and telling that's a new version, and maybe the new version should not split too much the previous one, but it can be like something that affected history, like an invasion in the world from goblins, I don't know, something that makes the things different, because we expect what this element that is needed will change in the world. And then I believe that way, like it doesn't matter if it's 3D or not, because the players play it, they play because it's because they have this feeling like they like old school or something like that. But this interaction with the new element will be the thing that will bring them to play the new version, I believe.
Yeah, but Westnot is not an online role-playing game like World of Warcraft, where you can, throw in the goblins. Yeah. just saying there was a goblin invasion and just changing every mainline campaign or add-on with that goblin invasion in mind.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
It's more or less adding new units and bring campaign with these units with a different line of.
Yeah, we are trying. The new version features the caliphate, some mixture between Middle East and Japan warriors, I think. So, yeah, we try to introduce new stuff, but StarCraft tries to balance 3 different factions, and they do reasonably well. Koreans are thinking they do well. We have balanced 6 or 7
something like this. Yeah.
And that took us
years.
At least 5 years or maybe we haven't been finished yet. So introducing a new faction means iterating over the balancing issue again. We are doing that now for one new faction, just replacing more than one or yeah, that's a lot of work.
The thing is that it could be an idea for a new release, and then it could be explored in marketing and this kind of thing. That's the thing. I believe that's the idea that we forward.
I've thought about a Kickstarter project to collect a lot of money, and yeah, money can move things.
I think we just do those 2 questions now. We're basically out of time. So.
I think you don't really have a choice going with Battle of West 52, whatever that would be. The thing is, this game has been going on for 10 years. 10 years of game development is a staggering achievement. And there have been in commercial games, Neverwinter Nights, Quake, StarCraft. That's it, we have been able to achieve that. And the thing is that at some point you have to cut off the cord and start maybe not talking from new, but think what defines Westnoff and what we can do add new, which will make it a different game built upon the same foundations. Because I'm sure, I haven't seen the source code, but I'm sure that through the 10 years of development, it wasn't a single structure which was growing in a specific direction. It was growing organically. And that's how projects work. At some point, you have to look at the structure, take away everything that is not needed, go again to the KISS principle, the absolute minimum, and build a new game upon that. And the thing is that after 10 years, I don't believe there's a chance to have a spike again. There's only a way downward, unless you create a new project, at least with the same foundation.
That might be true, yeah.
What's the definition of success for this project?
More users, more content, more fun, nicer graphics. Just more, yeah.
More and better. Basically, replace all those people in the community we don't like with people we like.
No, any game, commercial or non-commercial, that has been able to do that.
No. Someone needs to be first.
Da war noch so viel.